Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So I just got my bumper quick release buttons from Amazon. These are the push button ones instead of the rubber band ones that are normally only run. So instead of just running the rubber band ones, we're gonna run both the rubber band ones and also the push button ones. So these are the rubber band ones that you guys are probably familiar with already. My rubber band for this side actually broke. Luckily I have a few spare ones, so I'll probably throw that on there. You can also run a zip tie instead of a rubber band if you don't have any rubber bands around or if you want a stronger connection. So here's my rubber band still on the other side. If you guys park your car outside in the sun, you actually might not want to run the rubber bands because the sun will actually dry these out super fast and these will tend to break pretty often. So definitely either take them off if you're going to park outside or make sure you have a bunch of spare ones. I believe these quick releases I got from Amazon for like 10 bucks. I'll try to put a link in the description, but the install is super simple, pretty self-explanatory. You just ply your holes out, drill, install the hardware, and then these are pretty much good to go. The thing you want to be careful of, these are the ones that are plain, so they don't have any etching or logos on the outside. They actually make another one that says some super stupid JDM whatever on the outside, and those ones are super tacky in my opinion. So these plain ones are the way to go, and then they make them in a few different colors if you're interested in getting like red or purple or whatever. These are the push button ones I got from Amazon. These were like 20 bucks instead of 10. There's some mixed reviews on these. Some people like them, some people don't like them. Some people like the rubber band ones, simplicity better. But we're gonna go ahead and install both just so we have that extra security. So there's a company called Move Over Racing that actually sells a kit for these cars that uses a brand new fender bracket that already has the tabs for these quick releases installed. But I think that kit is like $300. So why would you spend that kind of money when you can have basically the same thing for a little bit of do-it-yourself and a fraction of the price? The Move Over Racing kit uses a bracket that replaces the OEM bracket that's normally right here. I no longer have that bracket because my fender is pulled super duper far. So the bracket actually doesn't fit there anymore. This rubber band quick release has been doing a pretty good job keeping the bumper nice and situated over here. But this corner up here tends to pop out sometimes. So we're probably going to install the button quick release somewhere around this area to prevent this corner from popping out. There are a few reasons why you would want quick releases for your bumper. So the reason that I went over for me personally is that I don't have that fender bracket there anymore. So I need something in its place to hold the bumper. Um, Also, if you have to take your bumper off all the time, whether it be to get into certain areas or maybe you take your bumper off all the time to work on your car. So I do a little bit of everything. So these quick releases come in handy for that, just so that I have ease of access when it comes to taking off the bumper and putting it back on. What we're going to do now is go ahead and take this bumper off so we can find a nice place on the frame to drill a hole to mount this stud. After getting the bumper off and looking underneath here, I actually think we're going to go ahead and use this OEM hole that's already here. This is where the original fender bracket used to clip into, but since that's no longer here, I was looking for other areas we might want to drill a hole, but the headlight's kind of in the way of all the areas that I wanted to utilize. So we're going to see how this hole works here. So we've got our stud here with one nut and one washer. That's going to go on this side, and then we're going to go ahead and put a nut and a washer on the other side. And we're just going to keep it hand tight for now, so if we need to move it around or anything like that, we still have time to play with it before we decide on the final setup. Alright, so we got our stud in place for the passenger side. We left everything loose so that we can reposition it if we need it to. The reason this stud is so long is that you can actually change how far up or down the stud these nuts are. So whether you need it further away from the body or closer into the body, you can play around with that until you get the final dimensions. So for figuring out where to drill the hole in the bumper, we're going to use some masking tape for reference. Try and put the bumper on and see where it sits for reference. I've seen some people do it where they actually put a little bit of toothpaste on the end of this stud, and then they put the bumper on and hit the toothpaste where it marks and then drill that area. But we're going to see what we can do and then just kind of send it and see how it turns out. So this is what we have for a rough marking for now. The final diameter that we have to drill for this button is actually pretty large. So we should have a couple chances to try and get the right hole just in case this first one doesn't come out right. We're going to be drilling with a 1/4 inch drill bit. Alright, so it took us 2 tries from just eyeballing where we needed to put the hole. Luckily, the final diameter for this button is going to be a little bit big, so this second hole here is actually not going to be a problem at all. So what we're going to do is go ahead and enlarge the hole that we know is good until this button can fit through, and then we can finalize everything for this side. Here's the final diameter we had to drill this hole to. The biggest regular drill bit I had was a 1/2 inch. That wasn't big enough, so I actually used my conical step bit in order to make the hole big enough. So the button's going to go through here like so, and then it's going to be held on by this nut on the other side. We have our stud tightened down here. These are just 10mm nuts. For the other side of this button, I just used a large crescent wrench in order to get this nut tight. So now this button is nice and tight, and then we're going to go ahead and test fit the bumper and see how the position is. So the positioning of the stud is good, but we actually need to extend the stud out a little bit further from the body because I had to push this bumper in way too far in order to get this quick release to engage. What I ended up doing was extending that stud out from the body till it's pretty much flush with this fender. And now this quick releases fits nice. The corner is not going to pop out on me anymore, so that's nice. And then here's it with the rubber bands here to help keep this gap closed. All you gotta do is push on this button and pull the bumper out, and then you have a released bumper. So now all we gotta do is take all the experience that we had doing this side and keep all that in mind when we go to do the other side. And I'll see you guys when it's all finished. Here's the final product. I tried to finesse this fitment as best as I could, but this is about as good as I could get. Once you pull your fenders, there's not really much you can do about this gap towards the back corner here. So for 20 bucks, we have a little bit extra security on the side of the bumper here, and then these quick releases will help the corner of the bumper near the headlight stop popping out.